What if I told you that the life you yearn for, the one filled with profound joy, boundless abundance, and deep, fulfilling love, isn't something you need to build from scratch, piece by painstaking piece? What if I told you that it already exists, complete and waiting for you, in a dimension just beyond the veil of your current perception? This isn't a fantasy or a distant hope. It's a fundamental truth about the nature of reality, and understanding it is the key to unlocking a life you may have only dared to dream of. You see, we've been taught to see ourselves as a single, linear being, moving from a fixed past into an unknown future. But the most profound discoveries in science and spirituality are converging on a single, astonishing revelation. You are infinite. Right now, in this very moment, an infinite number of versions of you exist simultaneously in a vast, multi-dimensional space. There is a version of you who is a celebrated artist, a trailblazing entrepreneur, a deeply connected parent, a globe-trotting adventurer. There's a version of you who has healed from past wounds, who radiates confidence, who has mastered that skill you've always wanted to learn. Every possible reality, every potential timeline already exists as a fully formed energetic blueprint in the quantum field. The version of you who is already living your most cherished dream is not a separate, luckier person. That person is you. The only difference between the reality you are currently experiencing and the one you desire is not luck, not divine favor, not even relentless, backbreaking effort. It's something far more subtle, yet infinitely more powerful: frequency. Frequency is the vibrational signature of your consciousness. It's the energetic broadcast created by the sum total of your dominant thoughts, your core beliefs, your emotional states, and your deepest assumptions about yourself and the world. This frequency is what determines which of the infinite, pre-existing realities you tune into and experience as your solid, physical life. You are not a victim of circumstance, building a life from the outside in. You are a cosmic perceiver, selecting a reality from the inside out. The life you desire isn't waiting for you to create it. It's waiting for you to select it. It's waiting for you to match its frequency. For centuries, our understanding of the world was governed by classical, Newtonian physics. It's a world of predictable cause and effect, a world of matter and force. It teaches us that to get from point A to point B, you must exert energy, apply force, and travel a linear distance. To build a house, you must lay one brick at a time. To achieve a goal, you must take a series of arduous, sequential steps. This is the paradigm of effort, of struggle, of pushing against a solid, unyielding world. It's the philosophy of making things happen. And while this model works for building bridges and launching rockets, it is a profoundly incomplete picture of the true nature of existence. Enter the strange, wonderful, and mind-bending world of quantum physics. Quantum physics is the science of the subatomic realm, the fundamental building blocks of everything we perceive as solid. And down there, in the energetic soup from which all matter arises, the rules are completely different. The core principle that shatters our classical worldview is called superposition. In the quantum realm, a particle, like an electron, doesn't exist in one single place until it is measured. Instead, it exists as a wave of pure potential, a cloud of infinite possibilities, occupying all possible locations and states simultaneously. It is everywhere and nowhere at once. It is only when an observer focuses their attention upon it when it is measured, that this wave of potential collapses into a single, definite particle in a specific time and place. Now, what if I told you that your life operates on the same principle? Your reality, before you observe it, exists in a state of superposition, a boundless field of infinite potential realities. The career you want, the relationship you dream of, the state of health you desire. All of these exist as vibrational potentials, shimmering waves of possibility in the quantum field. They are all equally real and equally available. Think of it like an old-fashioned radio. In the air around you, right now, there are hundreds of radio broadcasts. There's classical, rock, pop, news, and talk shows. All of these broadcasts are coexisting simultaneously in the same space. You can't see them or hear them, but they are there. They are in a state of superposition. To experience a specific station, you don't need to create the broadcast. It's already being transmitted. All you have to do is take your radio receiver and tune the dial to a specific frequency. When your receiver's frequency matches the frequency of the broadcast, the music suddenly becomes clear, solid, and experiential. You've collapsed the wave of potential radio signals into one singular, audible reality. Your consciousness is the tuning dial. Your emotional and energetic state is the frequency. The quantum field is the air, filled with an infinite number of potential broadcasts or timelines. When you spend your days consumed by worry, frustration, and a belief in lack, your consciousness is tuned to the frequency of 98.7 FM, struggle and scarcity. And so, the universe, obeying the laws of quantum physics, faithfully delivers that broadcast into your life. You experience more reasons to worry, more frustrating events, more evidence of lack. But when you learn to consciously and deliberately cultivate the feelings of joy, gratitude, and fulfillment, the very feelings you believe your desired reality will bring you, you begin to change the dial. You start tuning to a 103.5 FM abundance and flow. You are aligning your personal frequency with the frequency of a reality that already exists. Reality isn't fixed, solid, or separate from you. It is a fluid, responsive, and participatory field of energy. Your awareness is the selector, your focus is the tuner, and your state of being, not your physical effort, is what determines which broadcast you receive. You don't have to fight the old reality. You just have to choose a new station. One of the most profound and perhaps unsettling principles in quantum mechanics is the observer effect. In the famous double-slit experiment, scientists discovered that the very act of observing subatomic particles changed their behavior. When no one was looking, particles behaved like waves, spreading out and creating a pattern of interference, a pattern of pure potential. But the moment a measuring device was turned on to observe which slit the particle went through, the behavior instantly changed. The particles stopped acting like a wave of potential and behaved like discrete, solid particles, collapsing into a single, predictable path. The takeaway from this is staggering. The consciousness of the observer collapsed potential into physical form. This isn't just a quirky phenomenon confined to a laboratory. It is the fundamental mechanic of creation, and you are the observer in the laboratory of your life. The universe, the vast quantum field of infinite potential, is a perfectly neutral, non-judgmental mirror. It does not have a personality, an agenda, or a preference for your success or failure. It has only one function: to precisely and unfailingly reflect back to you the energy, the focus, and the emotional signature of your observation. It amplifies what you consistently and emotionally focus upon. This is why worrying is so destructive. Worry is not a passive state. It is an active form of creation. When you worry about not having enough money, you are placing your powerful, creative observation on the absence of money. You are focusing your consciousness on the reality of lack. You are feeling the emotions of fear, anxiety, and scarcity that are associated with that reality. In doing so, you are actively instructing the quantum field to collapse the wave of infinite financial possibilities into the specific form that matches your observation. More bills, unexpected expenses, and a persistent feeling of not enough. The universe isn't punishing you. It's just fulfilling your order with flawless precision. You are observing lack, and so lack is what you perceive. Conversely, when you learn to direct your observation with intention, the same principle works in your favor. When you cultivate a genuine feeling of gratitude for the abundance you already have, even if it's just the air in your lungs or the sun on your skin, you are placing your observation on the presence of abundance. When you visualize your goals not as distant hopes, but as current realities, and you allow yourself to feel the joy, relief, and excitement of their fulfillment, you're emotionally observing the reality you desire. You're sending a clear, coherent signal into the field that says, "This is who I am now. This is the reality I am observing." The universe, in its role as the perfect mirror, must then begin to reorganize itself to reflect that new observation back to you. Opportunities will appear that you couldn't have foreseen. The right people will show up. Ideas will flow to you. You are collapsing the potential of abundance into your tangible experience. We have been raised to believe that we see the world as it is. The quantum truth is far more radical. You do not see reality as it is. You see reality as you are. Your state of being, your emotional focus, is the collapsing agent. The world is not a static picture you are looking at. It is a dynamic canvas, and your attention is the paintbrush that brings the scene to life. You are not just a resident of the universe, you are its co-creator. The question then becomes, what are you choosing to look at? Our society is built on the altar of hustle. We are taught from a young age that success is the direct result of grinding, struggling, and relentless, often exhausting, hard work. We believe we have to make it happen, to force our will upon the world through sheer effort. We chase outcomes, we pursue goals, and we often burn ourselves out in the process, believing that our level of struggle is a badge of honor, a testament to our dedication. But what if this entire paradigm is based on a fundamental misunderstanding of how reality works? True manifestation, the art of bringing a potential from the quantum field into your physical reality, is not about the intensity of your effort, but about the purity of your vibrational alignment. The quantum field does not speak the language of action, force, or struggle. It speaks the language of energy, frequency, and vibration. It doesn't respond to what you are doing. It responds to who you are being. The key to communicating effectively in this energetic language is achieving a state of coherence. Coherence is when your heart and your mind, your emotions and your thoughts come into perfect synchronization. It's when you stop sending mixed signals to the universe. Think about it this way. Many people try to manifest abundance by using positive affirmations. They stand in front of the mirror and repeat, I am wealthy, I am abundant, over and over. This is the conscious mind, the 5% of their creative power, trying to broadcast a signal of wealth. However, at the same time, their heart and their subconscious mind are steeped in feelings of anxiety about their bills, fear of not having enough, and a deep-seated belief that they are unworthy of wealth. This creates a state of energetic incoherence. Their mind is broadcasting one signal, wealth, while their heart and body are broadcasting a much more powerful, contradictory signal, lack. The result is a chaotic, garbled mess. The universe receives this static and reflects back more chaos and more of the dominant vibration, which is lack. True power is not in the thought alone. It is in the alignment of thought and emotion. It is when you can think about your goal and your entire body resonates with the feeling of its accomplishment. It's not about chasing a future outcome. It's about embodying the emotional state of that future outcome right now. The quantum field doesn't respond to your desperate pleas or your strenuous efforts. It responds to the clarity and power of your broadcast. Coherence creates a powerful, laser-like signal that cuts through the static of infinite possibilities and calls forth the reality that matches it. This is why practices like meditation, breathwork, and spending time in nature are so powerful. They are not passive acts of relaxation. They are active tools for creating heart-mind coherence. They quiet the anxious, analytical mind and allow you to tap into the elevated emotions of the heart, gratitude, joy, compassion, and peace. When you are in this state, you are not chasing your dreams anymore. You become an energetic magnet, a powerful vortex that naturally and effortlessly attracts the people, opportunities, and synchronicities that are a vibrational match to your coherent signal. You stop swimming upstream against the current of resistance and learn to float downstream in the current of creation. The hard work is not in the doing, it's in the letting go of the struggle and learning to be in a state of alignment. Imagine you're in a movie theater. You are watching a film on the screen, the story of your life. You see the characters, the settings, the plot twists. If you don't like the movie, what would you do? Would you run up to the screen and try to physically move the images? Would you shout at the characters, trying to change their dialogue? Of course not. It would be an absurd and futile effort. You know that the images on the screen are just a projection. To change the movie, you have to go to the projection booth and change the film reel itself. In the theater of your reality, your conscious mind, the part of you that sets goals, makes plans, and has desires, is the viewer sitting in the audience. It accounts for, at most, 5% of your creative power. The other 95%? That is your subconscious mind. The subconscious is the unseen projector, and its programming is the film reel that is constantly playing, projecting the movie of your life onto the screen of the three-dimensional world. This is the missing piece of the puzzle for so many people. They work so hard with their conscious mind, using willpower, affirmations, and positive thinking, yet their life remains frustratingly the same. They are shouting at the screen while the same old movie keeps playing. This is because the real creator, the master programmer, is the subconscious. Where does this programming come from? For the most part, it is formed during the first 7 years of your life. From birth to age 7, a child's brain operates predominantly in a theta brainwave state. This is a state of hypnosis, of high suggestibility. As a young child, you were a pure recording device, downloading massive amounts of information about how the world works directly into your subconscious. You observed your parents, your teachers, and your culture, and you absorbed their beliefs about money, relationships, love, and your own self-worth without filter or question. If you heard your parents constantly fighting about money, you likely downloaded a program that says money causes conflict. If you were told you had to be seen and not heard, you may have installed a belief that my voice doesn't matter. If you experienced a painful rejection, you might have created a core belief that I am not lovable. These programs are not your fault. They are simply the software that was installed before you had a conscious mind to choose it. Now, as an adult, these subconscious programs run on autopilot 24/7. They are the unseen hand guiding your perceptions, your reactions, your choices, and your habits. Your subconscious is the energetic frequency you are chronically broadcasting. So, if you have a subconscious program of unworthiness, you will find yourself attracting partners and situations that validate that feeling, no matter how much your conscious mind craves a loving relationship. If you have a scarcity program, you will find it incredibly difficult to accumulate wealth, because on a deep level, your system is wired to repel it. To truly and permanently change your reality, you must stop trying to paint over the images on the screen and go into the projection booth. You must recondition this hidden, powerful layer of your mind. This is not a battle of willpower. It is a process of reprogramming. And this reprogramming is achieved through the very languages the subconscious understands: repetition, emotion, and focus. You cannot simply tell the subconscious to change. You have to provide it with a new experience, a new feeling, a new identity, over and over again, until the new program becomes more familiar and more hardwired than the old one. You have to transform the deeply ingrained fear into coherence, the automatic scarcity into a new certainty, by consciously and deliberately choosing a new film to play. If your subconscious mind is the projector of your reality, then how do you access the projection booth to change the film? The answer lies in consciously using your inner world to retrain your brain and body to accept a new reality as truth. This is not wishful thinking. It is a profound process of neurological and biological reprogramming through practices like visualization, meditation, and emotional rehearsal. One of the most incredible discoveries in neuroscience is that the brain does not know the difference between a real, external experience and an experience that is vividly imagined in the mind. When you close your eyes and mentally rehearse an event with focused attention and elevated emotion, your brain begins to fire new sequences and patterns of neurons. The famous scientific maxim states, "Nerve cells that fire together wire together." By repeatedly activating the neural networks associated with your desired future, you are literally installing new neurological hardware. You are building the brain of your future self before the external reality has manifested. Let's make this practical. Suppose your goal is to be a confident, charismatic public speaker but you are currently paralyzed by fear and self-doubt. The old method would be to force yourself into speaking situations, battling your anxiety every step of the way. The quantum method is to begin the work in the laboratory of your mind. You would find a quiet space, close your eyes, and begin to conduct a mental rehearsal. You wouldn't just see yourself on stage. You would embody the experience with all your senses. What are you wearing? How does the fabric feel on your skin? You see the faces in the audience, not as judges, but as eager, smiling supporters. You hear the sound of your own voice, clear, steady, and resonant. Most importantly, you intentionally generate the emotions of this future reality. You don't wait for the event to happen to feel confident. You generate the feeling of supreme confidence now. You feel the thrill, the passion, the deep connection with your audience. You feel the wave of pride and accomplishment as you deliver your final line. You hear the thunderous applause and feel the standing ovation in every cell of your body. When you do this consistently, something miraculous happens. Your brain begins to accept this imagined scenario as a real memory. It starts to see confident speaker as part of your identity. As you build these new neural pathways, you're also changing your body's chemistry. You are teaching your body what it feels like to be this new person, breaking your addiction to the old, familiar stress hormones like cortisol and conditioning your body to the elevated emotions of your future. This is not a one-time event. It is a daily practice. Just as you go to the gym to train your muscles, you engage in mental rehearsal to train your brain and body for a new destiny. Each session is a repetition that strengthens the new subconscious program. These small, daily shifts in your inner state, your thoughts, your emotions, your expectations, are the most important work you can do. You're no longer waiting for your external world to change to feel good. You're feeling good to change your external world. You are methodically, deliberately, and lovingly tuning your entire being, your brain, your body, and your energetic field to the frequency of a new timeline, a new reality that already exists, waiting for your signal. Our entire lives are structured around a single, deeply ingrained concept, the linear nature of time. We see time as a straight line, an arrow moving inexorably from a fixed, unchangeable past through a fleeting present into a distant and unknown future. This model forces us into a state of perpetual waiting. We are waiting for the weekend, waiting for the promotion, waiting for the right partner, waiting for our real life to begin. We are always trying to get somewhere else from where we are. But this perception of time is a three-dimensional illusion, and it is the very thing that keeps us locked into old realities. From a quantum perspective, time is not linear. It is simultaneous. All possibilities, every potential past, present, and future exist at once in the eternal now, stacked like infinite layers in a vast cosmic library. Time isn't an arrow you are traveling along. It's a spectrum of parallel possibilities, and your consciousness is simply illuminating one of those possibilities at a time, creating the illusion of movement. Every version of you already exists. The version of you who is struggling and the version of you who is thriving are not separated by years of hard work. They are separated by frequency. They exist on different, parallel timelines, and both are accessible to you right now. You don't have to slowly and painfully build a bridge to your desired future. You can learn to jump timelines. How do you make this quantum leap? You do it by embodying the energy of your future self now. You stop thinking about your future and start thinking from your future. This is the ultimate shift in consciousness. Take a moment and connect with the version of you who is already living your greatest dream. The you that has healed, that is financially free, that is in a beautiful, loving relationship. Get a clear sense of that person. Now, ask yourself some crucial questions. How does that version of me think? What are their dominant, habitual thoughts? Are they thoughts of worry and limitation? Or are they thoughts of gratitude, possibility, and expansion? How does that version of me feel on a daily basis? What is their core emotional state? Is it anxiety and impatience? Or is it peace, trust, and wholeness? How does that version of me make decisions? Do they make choices from a place of fear and lack, or from a place of love, confidence, and self-worth? How do they start their day? What do they prioritize? How do they speak to themselves and others? The act of embodying this future self is your mechanism for jumping timelines. When you are faced with a choice today, instead of defaulting to your old programming, you pause and ask, what would the version of me who has already achieved my dreams choose to do in this situation? Then you make that choice. When you catch yourself spiraling into an old, negative thought pattern, you consciously shift your focus to the thoughts that your future self would hold. When you feel the familiar pangs of anxiety or unworthiness, you intentionally practice generating the elevated emotions of your future reality. You are no longer trying to get there from here. You are collapsing time and space by bringing there into your here. This is not faking it till you make it. It is a profound act of energetic alignment. You are choosing, in the present moment, to operate from the frequency of the reality you wish to experience. By thinking, feeling, and acting as if your dream is already a reality, you're shifting your point of observation in the quantum field. You're literally moving your consciousness from the timeline of waiting and wanting to the timeline of having and being. You don't have to wait for the future to arrive. You have to generate its energy in the present, and in doing so, you effortlessly draw that timeline to you. When you begin to consciously do this work, aligning your frequency, reprogramming your subconscious, and embodying the energy of your future self, your new reality does not always crash into your life like a tidal wave. More often, it begins as a series of subtle whispers, gentle nudges, and strange little winks from the universe. These are the signs of alignment, the quantum confirmations that the field has received your new signal and has begun the complex process of reorganizing itself around your upgraded frequency. Learning to recognize these signs is crucial, as they provide the encouragement and validation needed to trust the process, especially before the big, tangible results appear in form. One of the first signs you might notice is an increase in synchronicities. Synchronicities are meaningful coincidences, events that seem statistically improbable, yet are deeply relevant to your journey. You might be thinking about a long-lost friend, and they suddenly call you. You might see the same sequence of numbers, like 1111 or 444, everywhere you look. You might overhear a conversation between strangers that contains the perfect answer to a question you've been pondering. These are not random accidents. They are feedback from the quantum field, affirming that you are on the right track. They are breadcrumbs on the path, showing you that the energetic world is communicating with you and conspiring in your favor. Another powerful sign is a shift into emotional neutrality regarding your desires. When you first begin this work, you might feel a desperate wanting or a painful longing for your goal. This very wanting broadcasts a signal of lack, but as you align more deeply, a sense of calm and trust begins to settle in. You stop obsessively checking for results. You find yourself feeling whole and complete before your desire has manifested. This neutrality is a sign of profound mastery. It means you have successfully shifted from the energy of wanting to the energy of knowing. You have moved into a state of being where your happiness is no longer conditional upon the external outcome, and paradoxically, this is the very state that allows the outcome to manifest effortlessly. You may also start receiving clear intuitive nudges. These can come as a sudden gut feeling, a quiet inner knowing, or a spontaneous idea that seems to come from out of nowhere. It might be a sudden urge to drive a different route home, which leads you to discover a new shop you've been looking for. It might be an inexplicable impulse to reach out to a certain person, who then presents you with a perfect opportunity. This is your higher self, your connection to the quantum field, guiding you along the path of least resistance. Learning to trust and act on these nudges, even when they don't make logical sense, is essential for co-creating with the universe. Finally, and perhaps most surprisingly, a sign of alignment can be a period of discomfort or chaos as your old reality begins to dissolve. As you raise your frequency, things that are not a match for your new vibration must fall away. A job may suddenly end. A relationship may crumble. Your old patterns and habits may feel increasingly uncomfortable and foreign. While this can feel unsettling, it is actually a very positive sign. It is the universe clearing space. It's the necessary demolition of the old structure to make way for the new foundation you are building. These are not coincidences or setbacks. They are quantum confirmations, evidence that you have successfully changed your broadcast and the world around you is beginning to recalibrate to match it. We have journeyed together through the very fabric of reality, from the infinite potential of the quantum field to the practical mechanics of creation. We've learned that you are not a single, limited being, but a multidimensional consciousness with access to infinite timelines. We've uncovered the truth that reality is not a fixed structure to be endured, but a fluid mirror that reflects your dominant state of being. We've seen how your subconscious mind acts as an unseen projector and how you can reprogram it through focused, emotional rehearsal. But all of this knowledge, all of these concepts converge into one final, powerful realization: the true transformation, the activation of your divine creative power begins the moment you stop asking and start becoming. For so long, we have been conditioned to approach life from a place of petitioning. We ask the universe for what we want. We pray for a better future. We hope for a lucky break. We are like beggars standing outside the door of reality, pleading for scraps. This entire posture reinforces the frequency of separation and lack. It broadcasts the message, "I do not have it." The integration of this quantum understanding is the shift from the identity of the asker to the identity of the creator. You're no longer preparing for a future. You're actively transmitting a new reality from the present. You're no longer waiting for your life to begin. You realize that every single moment is an act of profound creation. Your frequency, the silent broadcast of your state of being, is not a tool you use occasionally to get what you want. It is who you are, constantly, in every moment. Every choice you make, every thought you entertain, every emotion you cultivate is a vote. It is a vote that either anchors you more deeply into the old, familiar timeline or activates the new one. When you choose to react with anger instead of compassion, you are anchoring the old. When you choose to focus on what's wrong instead of what's right, you are anchoring the old. But when you consciously choose a thought of gratitude, when you intentionally generate a feeling of love, when you make a decision from the perspective of your empowered future self, you're actively transmitting the signal of the new. You're no longer preparing, you're activating. This is the ultimate empowerment. It is the realization that nothing outside of you needs to change for you to begin. The power is not in the future, it is in the now. The field is always on, always listening, always responding. It is not responding to your words of desire, but to the energetic truth of who you are being. Your reality, the one you are experiencing right now, is a perfect and delayed reflection of the frequency you have been consistently offering. To change your reality, you must change the offering. You are the transmitter. The broadcast is live. The quantum field is responding, always, to who you are. The question is no longer, what do I want? The question is, who am I choosing to be? So, as we bring our journey to a close for today, I want you to take a moment and just breathe. Let these ideas settle, not just in your mind, but in your heart, in your very bones. The core lesson from all of this is one of profound freedom and empowerment. You are not a victim of your circumstances. You are the master of your frequency. You're not building your future. You are choosing it moment by moment. The advice, the takeaway for your daily life is to become a conscious observer of your inner state. Start noticing, what are the thoughts I am thinking on autopilot? What are the emotions my body is addicted to? And then, with compassion and without judgment, begin to make new choices. Dedicate just 5 minutes each day to mentally rehearsing your future, not just seeing it, but feeling it with every fiber of your being. Practice gratitude as if it were a muscle, strengthening your connection to the frequency of abundance. And when faced with a decision, ask that powerful question: what would the highest, most fulfilled version of myself choose right now? I'd love to hear from you and continue this conversation. Let me leave you with a couple of questions to ponder. Please share your thoughts in the comments below. What is one subconscious belief you've been carrying that might be projecting your current reality? And if you were to truly embody the feeling of your dream being your reality right now, what is the first small action you would take from that state of being? Your insights are so valuable to this community of conscious creators. Thank you for sharing your time and your energy with me today. I wish you not just a wonderful day, but a life filled with health, joy, and the deep satisfaction of knowing you are the powerful creator of your reality. And if this message resonated with you and you'd like to explore these concepts more deeply, please don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel. We have so much more to discover together.